Calling this hearing to order. For the record, my name is Kenzie Bach. I'm the District 8 Boston City Councilor and also the chair of the Boston City Council's Committee on City Services and Innovation Technology. Joined here today by my colleagues. I'm the sponsor of this matter, my co-sponsor, Councilor Brian Worrell, District 4, and then the Council President, Ed Flynn of District 2. This public hearing is being recorded. It's being live streamed at boston.gov/city-council-tv and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, and FiOS Channel 964. We'll be taking public testimony at the end of the hearing, so if you're here with us in the chamber, please sign up at the sheet near the chamber entrance, or if you want to testify virtually, you can email ron.cobb@boston.gov for the link to testify virtually. That's ron.cobb@boston.gov. And if you're watching this after the fact and you want to send something to the committee, you can email it to Ron. You can also send it to ccc.csit@boston.gov. That's the committee email address. For all testimony, we ask that you state your name and neighborhood or affiliation and try to keep your comments to a couple of minutes just so we can get everybody in. Today's hearing is on docket 0241, order for a hearing regarding a supplemental sidewalk clearance program during snowstorms in Boston. And we'll be discussing this matter with Mike Brohl, the Superintendent of Streets for the Public Works Department here in the city. And just a little bit of context on this for folks just tuning in. We, in the last council session, my office started sort of drilling down on this matter. I represent a part of the city that has a huge number of pedestrians just every day out on the sidewalks, and a lot of folks who have limited mobility and for whom, when the sidewalks stay unshoveled for long periods of time, and especially the sort of like ramps and crossings are blocked, they can really be kind of hemmed in the neighborhood for many days. And so, really obviously want to ensure mobility for all of our residents in the city. And so kind of started digging into this and thinking about what other cities do. We looked last session at both the city of Rochester and the city of Syracuse and their sort of pilot clearance programs, recognizing that obviously if the city were to take on the entire burden of sidewalk clearance from private property owners, that would be it would be basically, again, the scale of what we do on the streets. So trying to figure out what the best path forward was for something to help our residents. And I'll let the superintendent talk more about it, but was really gratified that the superintendent was able to put some resources towards a kind of informal pilot test program last winter. So I want to use this hearing both to check in on this and also talk about kind of where we go from here. So I'll have more questions in the question period, but I just want to let my colleagues make any opening statement on the matter, and then we'll go to Superintendent Brohl. So Councilor Worrell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Superintendent Brohl, for all that you do in our city. Also wanted to give a big shout out to Clarence Perkins, Willie Simon, and all those other people that are hard at work in our district, making sure that the snow's removed, but also just taking care of our streets every day, and always picking up the phone calls and ready to respond. So thank you to you and your team and always being very responsive. Like Councilor Barker said, just wanted to check in on the pilot program, seeing how we can expand it possibly on some more of those high traffic areas, whether it's our train stations, Ashmont Station, Shaman Station, or even like some of our high density traffic commercial areas like Common Square, Talbot Ave, seeing how we can expand the program, but just here to check in and see where we go from here and how can we expand the program.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Worrell. President Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Councilor Worrell, as well, and thank you, Superintendent Brohl, for the important leadership and work you and your team are doing throughout the city. And during snowstorms, your team is out there, sometimes a week before the snowstorm is coming, preparing for that snowstorm, whether it's public education awareness, or it's making sure your trucks are in line, or it's treating the roads or other issues. But I have had the opportunity to see your team work prior to a snowstorm, and we're fortunate to have such strong leaders and dedicated city employees. So I want to acknowledge the Public Works team for their leadership. And just want to say thank you again to my colleagues for bringing this forward. It's an important issue. Snow removal, like trash removal, pest control, these are the nuts and bolts. These are city services that government is all about. We have to continue to work together with residents to make sure we address all quality of life issues. That's what we're here for. That's what residents expect from the city council. That's what residents expect from the mayor's office and the departments as well. So what I find in my career, I guess, is it's important to work together. It's important to work city leaders, but also working with the community, working with residents, nonprofits, organizations, our seniors, persons with disabilities, but also making sure we're working with our immigrant community as well, making sure that they know exactly what to do, and how we communicate with them is also important. So there's other city departments that are crucial to this process as well, such as language and communication access. Having said that, I just want to say thank you to you, Superintendent Broll, for the important work your team is doing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you, President Flynn. So Superintendent, I'll hand it over to you. I think, just a bit about what we did last year and what,
Sure.
what you're seeing us plan for this year. And then I know that in the ARPA funding this summer, we approved funding for a kind of focused, like business districts, main streets pilot. And my impression is that that's not slated to start this winter, that it's slated to start a winter later. But maybe if you can just speak to kind of just confirm that and talk a little bit about how we're ramping up to that, if that's the case. So.
Sure. Thank you very much. So thanks for the opportunity to be here today with you folks and kind of talk about what our team does. I appreciate the kind words towards the folks who work very hard to keep this city open and safe during some brutal winters, some brutal weekends, some storms that stack against each other, and some, to Councilor Flynn's point, it isn't, when the weatherman or woman says it's, the snow starts at 5 and ends at, tomorrow at 2 a.m., those aren't really the hours of operation. They can be long hours before, during, and after. And the folks you mentioned, Willie, Simon, and Clarence Perkins in District 3 and District 7, do a lot of work to manage a good amount of equipment around the city to make that happen. And what happened last winter was, with conversation with you, Councilor Bach, that kind of like the need and the want, and how can we get somewhere, was the idea of this pilot program. We rolled out upwards of 60 small pieces of equipment post snowstorm. That would be bobcats, skid steers, backhoes. They would come in our efforts last year between 6 and 8 hours after the storm. Sometimes a little bit earlier, if they, depending on what time that snowstorm ends. We're trying to get some folks some rest out of that equipment. The 60 plus pieces, we own 20 ourselves. Those are what we call tracklesses, which are the small yellow. They look almost like mini tanks, if you will. They've got the blade up front, heavy, able to push through brake paths. We've got some small, what we call Avants. Those are smaller. They're a mix between a backhoe and a loader. We've got those in our inventory. We've got also some small Polarises that do some bike lane work for us. Of note for those would be the Summer Street bike lane and some other work, kind of specialty work around the city. With that is that contractor piece then. So that difference is what we got last winter was roughly 40 pieces from our contractors spread across the city. We initially rolled them out kind of in a targeted idea of where their high pedestrian flow, where folks either congregating, waiting for buses, getting to buses, business districts that we can break through and open up some ped ramps. The need for this is the act of plowing snow. It moves it. So, we don't, plowing is not a delicate operation. We don't clinically place it redundantly overnight when it's falling 2 inches an hour. We're just trying to keep roads safe for Chief Hooley, Commissioner Cox, and Commissioner Burke's teams to kind of have access to make sure that their apparatus can move. So that plowing operation can move snow in different places that we then have to come in and rectify, move, clear open some spots. Last winter we saw some really good results with this. We called it a pilot last winter. We're done calling it a pilot. We've had contractor conversations leading up into this winter and team conversations. It's just a part of our operation now. So I always joke that pilots last for a while in the city. We're trying to get rid of this pilot early and just call it a part of our operation. So that's what we've done. And in talking to the contractors and our team, the Clarence Perkins, Willie Simon, Anthony Thompson's, all these folks who kind of, intimately know their district, and they know it in June and July, so they know what that PED movement is. It's the same movement in the winter, so they know, where that hot spots are. I made sure to make a note about Shawmut T Station when you mentioned it. That was not one that was on our list last winter. We did have Peabody Square, we did have Codman, but we are learning. This is, well, it's not a pilot anymore, and it's part of our operation. Everything's fluid. And we'd love to hear different spots that are of note. I think Councilor Bach, I think we spoke about South Huntington last winter, and a couple more on the fly. They're going to happen. And I think when we get really good at one spot, we might find out that we're not good at another spot, and we've got to clear up that problem. So in talking to the contractors and our district yard supervisors, we've been able to kind of get the same idea as last winter, but like more of that eye towards, okay, when this storm's over, we kind of flip. We flip into kind of opening up the city a bit more. When we used to open it up with just plows and spreaders to kind of get streets wider and to get bus routes wider, we're now flipping that to same thing, getting the streets as wide as possible, but also opening up some pedestrian walkways and some just kind of high volume. To your point, Councilor Bach, you've got a lot of folks downtown, which is great. But there are also business districts, West Broadway, East Broadway, that we target on these events. That we've just got to make sure that we're on top of the right ones at the right time. There is a to Councilor Flynn's point, people work very hard and very long, and there's a sense of how do we give them both break and some rest period, but also get right back into the timely work as well. So we are working on that cadence. We had some good feedback from the contractors about how that could look for them. Our own folks, how does that look for them? What type of break do they need that we still get the city back open and as safe as possible, as soon as possible. The contractors did come back to us this fall with a good handful of bought smaller pieces of equipment. So they've seen that this is some work that that we're looking to do more and more. We had one contractor add 30 skid steer bobcats because they seen that the after storm need. That's very promising. So that number that I had, which was roughly 60 on these events during the pilot period, well, now I think we'll be close to 80 pieces of equipment. And considering we were looking at last winter before it started, I think I might have quoted to you, Councilor Bach, 40 pieces. We got to 60. Getting to 80 is, it's all improvement. It's not every sidewalk in the city. It's not every ramp in the city. It's targeted, high volume. Areas where we're just trying to take some of the burden and stress off of people's strollers, wheelchairs, kids walking to school buses. It's just trying to take some of that relief off of there. But again, to my point, and thanking Councilor Flynn for kind of recognizing it, very few people do a lot of long hours and hard work, and kind of making sure that they're safe and that they're working at the right pace and have got the right time to kind of take a break before they get into this work has been that's been a pretty good sized learning curve here because we want to do more. We don't want to do less, but we also want to care for who we have, who are working very, very hard. So that cadence we're always working on, but it's no longer a pilot program. This is part of our operation. Council, you mentioned the ARPA funding. So the Streets Cabinet is taking that forward. It's the goal for the winter of 23 into 24, starting, which would be a year from now, to have targeted locations. I think they're going to try to work through business districts and Main Street organizations to kind of see where is that, where can that breadth of money and resources go to. In talking to Chief Hodge, we're figuring out oversight and inspection and all those things that go into it. But it is on the agenda. I see this coming for through these Main Street organizations and through just some conversations and maybe looking at some data as well to see truly where are the people. Because I tell you we know where the people are, but it doesn't mean we always know where the people are, right? And where are the trouble spots. So I think that I think going into next winter, that shouldn't be an issue. There'll be a point person, there'll be folks kind of overseeing, and kind of hopefully we'll have a nice a map of where we should be and how we should be there. So that's all moving forward. But I will tell you, in real time this winter, we're prepared to do what we did last winter, a bit more. I quickly took down the note of Shaman. We'll continue to take down notes, and I think Councilor Bach can attest. A text or a call always works, and an email to kind of joystick us a bit. We'll be as nimble as possible.
Yeah, no, I very much appreciate it. I think last winter in particular, we had the inner, the West Fens neighborhood. We actually had a lot of people walking around on Peterborough Street and stuff, and I think you guys helped us out there. A couple questions for me, and then I'll go to my colleagues. One is just great to hear, let's not talk about it as a pilot anymore. So that's awesome. I know that, one of the things we did talk about last winter, and this relates to the personnel, is and I just also want to sort of help people who are watching at home understand, right, that it's more or less the same folks who operate the plows as operate the Bobcats, right? So it's like the same people who just maybe did a long shift are now we're asking them to get in a Bobcat. And so my impression last year was that it meant that adding this on was kind of easier if it was a quick storm where the snow was down pretty fast. If it was a prolonged storm, then those people are really spent, and so we needed more of a beat before you could get people back out. And so I wonder if you could just speak to that a little bit, and then in terms of what that learning was, and then also just to ask you, one of the things that I found myself wondering is, would it be helpful for us to kind of communicate out to the public, hey, because of the duration of this storm, Bobcat cleanup of ramps is going to start 8 hours from now, right? Or something to I was just thinking about kind of, is there a way for us to set expectations, and we'd have to do it storm by storm, but kind of to help communicate to folks? Because I think that was one of the issues that we were dealing with, is you guys were so fast on the draw with the small equipment after the first storm, which was one of those shorter ones. And everyone was great, this is awesome. The ramps are clear. This is what we want. And then the next storm was one of those long drawn out ones. And I think our workforce was just pretty spent. So can you talk about that a little bit
So
more?
January 9th was when we were quick, because the storm was quicker and smaller. January 28th, 29th into the 30th was a blizzard. So to your point, it is the same folks. It's kind of make sure that everyone's safe and healthy and getting the rest that they need. Whereas then we can go back to working hard again for 700,000 residents and a million or so people who come into the city. So it is easier to do it that way. I wouldn't ask for a big thump of snow, because then that's a problem, in actual real time of clearing roads. But no, it's the cadence is always set forth by Mother Nature, and fortunately, it's in all avenues and all aspects of this. I'm just reporting on what we do and on how we respond to Mother Nature, to kind of be clear that there's no square peg, square hole. There's no, but I do think that if we can understand what it is, though. It's not like we didn't understand what the last 6 hours or 8 hours or 34 hours were. So we could communicate I think a bit more, I'll say realistically, and we tend to do it with our own social media feeds, because that's just kind of how we operate. But we'd love to have to be able to kind of share information, and then we can get out to different networks.
Yeah, no, I just think it might be, now that it's more part of our operation, I feel like last year we were almost trying to pleasantly surprise everyone with the Bobcats. And so especially that first storm, they kind of appeared, right? And then everyone was oh, this is awesome. But then I think, I'm just trying to think about how can we, because also I think with our offices, if people reach out to my office and say, hey, it's all impassable around here, it would be nice to be able to say, so they've actually taken a pause so that the guys who drive can sleep, but they're going to be back tomorrow doing that. I'm just trying to think about how we could.
You say pleasantly surprised, which is probably, I would say, we just don't want to set expectation levels that we can't meet. Right. And in that first year, and the only pilot year we had, we did want to learn from what did today feel like, what does tomorrow look like, what does the past 2 days feel like, what does tomorrow look like. So, but I agree. I can appreciate that. And
do you guys, Superintendent, have, like you were talking about the sort of target zones, do you guys have a map?
We have, every district has their own map. So we kind of, so because we talk in snow maps in winter, so we've got 255 snow maps. But in this work, it's really just, downtown business district centric.
Right. Yeah, it would be great. I'd love to talk through the District 8 ones, but maybe we can do that. Okay, I'm gonna go to Councilor Worrell, and then we've been joined by Councilor Ruth C. Louis Jen at large, so we'll go to her for questions as well. Councilor Worrell.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks again. And my question is just simple question is, how can we as councilors, I know this is going into the second year of the services, and I know, to Councilor Bach's point that, we created, this service that more people are going to be asking for, but how can we as councilors be more supportive of this program and of these services?
So I greatly appreciate that question. Any support we can take in snow, we'll take. I think pre-storm, pre-winter, communicating, give us heads up on places that you think that, could use this type of relief and could use this type of work because of the pedestrian flow or because of issues you've heard about redundantly. That's one step. Two would be helping communicate with your networks and your residents to kind of let them know that, they're coming. Or, okay, there's a pause or just kind of setting forth in motion that we're not doing every sidewalk either. That expectation level is important to us. The men and women work very hard, and to see that we didn't do sidewalks well, but something we don't do, can be a little tough on the morale, a little bit tough on the expectation levels for folks who are charged with, until last winter, truly doing roadways, doing 850 miles of lanes. And so it's just kind of setting forth the right expectation levels that, and then passing along, just because I think there's a spot right now that needs it, doesn't mean it'll need it, or doesn't mean that there's not two down the street that need it more. And kind of helping us put our resources where they belong. It kind of goes back to a litter basket. If you know where a litter basket should go and you want to suggest it, we talk through it and we kind of move the resources that way. It's the same thing with this type of operation as well.
All right, thank you.
I'm actually gonna, great, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go now to President Flynn and then to Councilor Louis Jen. One sec.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and again, want to say thank you to the superintendent and the team from Public Works for the important work and leadership they're doing in our city on basic city services, certainly snow removal, but so much more. Superintendent, why don't you explain some of the interaction your team would do prior to a snowstorm, treating the roads, making sure the equipment is ready, making sure your personnel is available, and the communication outreach to the residents of Boston. Just give us an idea of what it takes prior to the arrival of a snowstorm.
Sure. So every storm is a little different. Some are big, some are small, some are ice storms, some are squalls that come off the ocean. But for a large-scale storm, we are talking about our equipment a week ahead of time. Where, never mind, are we not doing that in August and September, but as we get more micro into the moment, we're talking about equipment. Is it a plowable event? If it's a plowable event, we're affixing plows back onto trucks. We might have removed those plows because they were doing litter basket work and picking up dead animals throughout the week, so we'd rather not have them driving around with the blades on. So that's part of it. Making sure that the salt spreaders are working, making sure that everything that might have went down last storm. That's another thing, is that in snow, it's a physical act with the roadway, and you're scraping and you're pushing, and you can have countless breakdown issues, whether it be a hydraulic leak or a blade issue or a spreader malfunction. So we're making sure that equipment that was brought down to Central Fleet has been returned. If it hasn't been returned, what's the ETA on returning? If it's not going to return, okay, now we have to make up that number, maybe with a contractor, because we're down a piece or two. And so that's kind of like that equipment piece that we talk about. We start talking personnel as well to make sure that we've got shifting set up that allows for maximum time off for folks in between these long-term events. So we like to get into a split shift mode, and thinking about that at least 3 or 4 days ahead of time, so we can implement it and we can let employees know, so they can let family members know, that they can let so they can kind of set up their life. We're about to ask them to do a lot of work over a period of time, and we want to try to let them make sure that they're letting folks know that maybe they won't be there to pick up the child from school, maybe they can't do that function at the house that they did before. So that staffing conversation goes back and forth. As you know, Norman Parks and Danny Nee, who are integral key members of the citywide snow operation, guys that, you know, who really keep this city open. We start these conversations, to your point, days ahead of time. Then we start getting into, okay, now that event's active, now it's live, and, you know, we like to do depending on the type of snowfall, a pre-treat, so we can get just a salt surface down to kind of help break away. It brines up the water, allows us to get back to pavement sooner, and keep streets safe for a little bit longer. Hills and bridges are always what we talk about first. Hills, because hills are hills, and bridges tend to freeze up sooner because of the fact that there's really no terra firma underneath it. It's a hovering piece of concrete that gets colder. So we're very lucky in our fleet. We've got about 60 trucks with air and road sensors in them. So that means it's got the air temp, but also the road temp. So we can kind of watch the temperature move. We can watch it. Cambridge Street Bridge out in Brighton's one that we check. Fairmont Hill is one that we check. Pope's Hill we check. Wellington Hill. There's like key points of the city where we just kind of want to see the temperature go down and know when we have to push a button. So that's part of that pre-storm into the storm activity. We then, as you know, now you're in the event, now you're plowing, now you're salting. We're trying to keep open every lane we can possibly keep open, making sure bus routes are safe, making sure that, you know, hospital corridors, you know, folks can move an ambulance in and out of the city. And to my point earlier about the public safety teams, you know, we're in constant communication in case they have if they have a problem, it's our problem. So we have to, you know, if it's a hill problem, if it's a pinch point problem, we're in communication there as well. Where we've also been sending resources to some bike lanes as well to kind of keep that network as open as possible. I should say, as it relates to this post-storm action that we took last year, and we went full time with this year, that we do also at the same time send those 60 pieces through the bike lanes again to make sure that the bike lanes are once again open if they didn't remain open or if they were plowed in by way of just people doing other work. So we're also doing that as well. So it's to your point, Council, it's a good bit of work beforehand before you actually get to the snowfall.
Yeah, and I just have one final question. Thank you, Superintendent, and I know you highlighted the Parks and Danny Nee as well for outstanding work, which I agree. The snow removal team is doing an excellent job. Superintendent, tell us, what are you looking for as it relates to making sure the streets are accessible, especially to persons with disabilities? So
inside of a snowstorm, our actions are plowing. Inside of a snowstorm, our actions are keeping streets open, keeping hills safe as possible, keeping bridges safe. Post-storm, we're trying to make sure that we're helping Commissioner McCosh's team as much as possible. That's someone who's herself and her team will ping us post-storm, kind of give us some heads up on some pinch points. I remember Atlantic Ave of note last year and a few others, just at the top of my head. But so we're trying to do our best to make sure that these major ped ramps and these heavily trafficked pedestrian baby carriages, wheelchairs, folks with disability, that we're getting to as much as we possibly can get to.
Yeah, thank you, Superintendent, and just for the record, for my colleagues, Commissioner McCosh does an outstanding job working as the Mayor's Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities. But they have a great way of interacting with so many residents across the city. But their job really is to advocate for persons with disabilities. But one of the most important things they do is communicate with us also, making sure we help them, working closely with Public Works and ensuring that our streets and sidewalks are accessible to persons with disabilities, people in wheelchairs or families with little kids in baby carriages too, seniors. So thank you, Superintendent, for highlighting the important role Commissioner McCosh plays as it relates to quality of life issues as well. So thank you to the sponsors, and this has been an excellent hearing. Thank you.
Great, thank you, President Flynn. Councillor Louis Jen. We've also been joined by Councillor Aaron Murphy at large. Councillor Louis Jen, you have the floor.
Thank you, Councillor Bach. I Thank you for holding this hearing, and want to thank the commissioner, the superintendent for being here. I wanted to know if you sort of have looked at the models, and apologize if this question was asked before, in other cities in terms of sidewalk clearance, like Rochester and I believe Syracuse, and what are the best practices that we've learned from their sidewalk clearing program?
So we have looked at Syracuse's. They paused it for COVID after 1 year. They've picked it back up last winter, and they actually picked it back up with a good stretch of sidewalks. I don't know the results, so I should say I've looked into it to know that their plan was to do 100 miles of sidewalks post snowstorms, and to deploy resources as such through an idea based around metrics and data. Who was what, where were they, how were they, foot, modal, bike. And so I'll be interested to see what that looks like. Last winter was their first winter to do it. St. Paul, Minnesota deploys small pieces of equipment post snowstorm, and how they operate is they just start doing sidewalks until it snows again. So it's more along the lines of how far they can get and what they can do. Interested to see how that plays out as far as the end result. Not fully knowing what St. Paul, Minnesota snow is like and how quickly it can come again. I know that it's a model that gets what it feels to me like it's a model that gets what they can get. Where Syracuse seems to be dedicated 100-mile network. I should say as well, just to kind of speaking to the St. Paul piece, well, I've highlighted that we do this post-snowstorm clearance of squares. We run our internal pieces, so we've got, I noted earlier, we have 21 of our own small pieces of equipment that do bike lanes and can break some of these piles. They work just kind of like St. Paul does. They'll just work, and they'll work another area, and then they'll work another area, and then we kind of flip the switch to going back to litter baskets and going back to street cleaning or going back to core business that's not related to Mother Nature. So while we run this event, the post-snowstorm square work, it doesn't end when the contractors leave. Our city folk continue on, and our second and third shifts won't run the same scale because we're just on the same bodies on those second and third shifts, and we also don't want to be a problem in a neighborhood where people are finally going to sleep after shoveling themselves, and we don't want to run large-scale equipment through small areas. But we are doing that St. Paul approach where we're just trying to get as wide and as open as we can get. But it'll be interesting to see what Syracuse comes back with after the full winter.
And I guess, obviously the city's biggest priority when it comes to snowstorms is cleaning of our streets and making sure that they're accessible. I think Council President Flynn talked about making sure that they're accessible, especially to folks with disabilities, folks in wheelchairs. But there's also the issue of ramps. And so I wonder what you see as the biggest, we already see the challenge that exists with making sure after we had the big snowstorm last year that our streets are cleaned. When it comes to sidewalks, what is the biggest challenge that we face as a city in ensuring that the sidewalks are cleared as a city, from the city perspective?
Yeah, so
rather than from the individual residents who in their own onus and responsibility to do that.
Yeah, I think it's scope. It's 1,600 miles of sidewalks. Mm-hmm. We have 850 miles of roadway. We have around, I think it's like 1,200 lane miles when you start talking about like the Melnia Casas and Hyde Park Ave with multiple lanes. But I think it's 1,600 miles that's a heavy number. When I tell you that Syracuse is looking to tackle 100 miles, that's impressive. That impresses me. But it's 1,600 miles we have in the city as far as the full ownership of sidewalks, which is why the city has never tackled it internally. I think that things like we did last winter kind of can show us how far we can get and how much we can do. I think we can do more of the square work this winter than we did last winter, just because we've learned from, and we've got contractors and we're buying our own equipment that kind of adds that volume and adds that resource. But you look at the nooks and crannies of the city, and it's certainly not nooks and crannies, it's just side streets. We're a city made up of side streets where, last night Halloween kind of highlights it, is that, we're just we're a city of neighborhoods and city of, dead ends and, one ways and, just a lot of small streets that when you start getting to 1,600 miles, I think that's that number, that makes you think,
And I guess a follow-up question is, we often, as a new city councilor, one of the questions that I got a lot from constituents was private ways. So if you could talk a little bit about what snow removal looks like on our private ways and the challenges that you experience there, because it is an issue, especially residents who, buy on private ways but may not fully be aware of the responsibilities that might entail. So if you could speak to the challenges of snow removal on private ways and on the sidewalks of private ways.
Sure. So on private ways, we do a lot of work in snow on private ways. If we're touching trash.
But is it a priority? Like, are you going to prioritize a private way the same way you will a public?
Yep.
street?
So we talk in snow maps in the winter. We've got our major arterials, but and that's those bus routes. But our district yards, they talk in snow maps. And if there's a private way inside of a snow map, where there's a piece in there or a couple pieces in there that is hitting that redundantly. The problem with snow is that if you don't get it redundantly, you have to dig it out. So if you miss a street that's got 16 inches of snow, it's a total different ballgame. It's just far more work. So is it getting the same amount of attention as a Neponset Ave through a snow map gets? It may not get the same size of equipment, but it still has smaller equipment assigned to it. It is some of the problems there can be. We don't own the enforcement of parking on a private way. So if there's a car that's parked out of compliance, that's pinched in at a corner or far off the curb, and it's not allowing that plow to get to the end of the private way, it's tougher because we don't have that mechanism. It's a private way. It isn't a city parking space, so that can be a little bit of an issue. The back bay alleys is a pretty good example of that. Like if we've got an issue getting around a car in a private alley, we try to use our network of folks that we just know in the South End Forum and the like to kind of help us kind of communicate and move that. You have the yellow lights on your truck and you hear it. Folks tend to come out because they're happy maybe or mad, but they want to move their car to make sure that there's full access, so that helps out.
Yeah.
The private way work is something that happens with us every snowstorm. It's part of a map. The sidewalk work in there, I couldn't speak to. There are some sidewalks in private ways. Some private ways have no sidewalks. It's kind of I wouldn't say a hodgepodge, but it's a hodgepodge.
It's a hodgepodge.
Okay. I'll agree with you, Sam. So I can't speak to that piece of it. We don't enforce the sidewalks on a private way like we would with code enforcement on a public street currently, but. We are putting small scale pieces of equipment inside of these maps, inside of snowstorms. We're thinking it through. So when I say 255 maps, part of that plan going into that snowstorm is, okay, you need a small piece for this and then this because, you've got this small dead end, you got this alley to get through, and you get this dead end to kind of make sure you get to the end of and back and forth. So it is always part of our dialogue.
Thank you. And Councilor Rell asked a really great question about what city councilors can do. I'm wondering, for residents listening, and who are sometimes frustrated with the fact that maybe they're clearing their sidewalk, but maybe there's a neighbor who isn't, or an absentee landlord, or perhaps there's someone who's elderly who can't, and they don't have the capacity to clear the sidewalk. What is the action? What is the most important action that individual residents can take when it comes to helping us, with the work of making sure our sidewalks are accessible, especially to families with persons with disabilities, folks in strollers, folks who have a hard time weaving in and out of the street if they need to.
So I think it's always use the system. Create a case. We deploy.
And by create a case, you mean
311.
311.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, either use the app, use the phone number, use the computer. Create a case. Make sure you give the right X and Y's, meaning give the right address. Sometimes it's we can get address is very important. We deploy code enforcement post snowstorms based around not just case volume, but we become Pavlov's dog. We become the bell rings, and we're going to it eventually. We go downtown heavy centric early, business districts and large scale management companies that kind of have to that see a lot of these people that we talk about on their sidewalks. But then we deploy out from there into the neighborhood. So I think always advising residents to use the system to create a 311 case. There's a tracking number with that. You can see resolved by way of cited, not cited, or maybe that by the time we got there, someone did do the right thing and did clear it up. But post snowstorm, we deploy the 18-ish officers all on sidewalk work.
Okay, and then I guess my last question is, speaking to the challenges and sort of a successful sidewalk clearance program, if you could talk about Public Works capacity, staff capacity, like where are you, what level, where do you want to be, and how the City Council can we be helpful?
Yeah, so we're not where we want to be. We're
Can
very
you talk
low.
in percentages? Give us an understanding of
Yeah,
where you are and where you want to be.
I can talk in volume and kind of back into the percentages. We are down 30 CDL drivers. We're down 15 to 16 hoisting license. Those are folks who run our loaders, who either, give us salt into our trucks or run the smaller backhoe equipment that I talked about. We've had some success in the past 2 weeks. We've been going to a lot of job fairs and putting our tent up and our shingle up at different places to kind of, spread the word. And we've actually onboarded, or in the process of onboarding 4 of those CDL drivers right now, which has been, a plus. Fully staffed, the highway division in Public Works has around 175, 180 employees. It's that at full staff, it's not a lot. 1988, a gentleman who ran snow, Joe Canavan, who was one of the best of all times, he had 405 employees just in highway. And that was 1988, and there was no
City of Boston?
City of Boston Highway Division. There was no 311 system. There was no social media. There was, someone answered a phone at a desk and might pass along that information to someone else at the desk, and they would deploy resources. But my point is that we're not, and I think maybe 400 is too high. But as we get more scope of work now, what we haven't really talked about is bike lanes. But we've assumed bike lanes, and we're assuming more bike lanes, and we have to keep those bike lanes open and accessible. So that's a use of resources as well that comes out of that 180 employees, which right now we're probably at 135, 130-ish. That we just have to figure out how do you use these resources. Staffing is a problem. It's a problem across the industry. It's a problem across all municipalities. For a lot of the key work in our world, it's licensed drivers. In other work, with city government, it can be school teachers or lunchroom monitors or just a wide breadth of I think it's been well chronicled the issues going on with staffing and labor. But in our little world, it's licensed drivers. We have been more aggressive with our pay scale. We have been paying we talk in steps and grades, and starting people at a different step to kind of make sure we get them in here. Mayor Wu has been like truly wonderful with putting us anywhere in front of anybody, and kind of giving us all the tools that we can get on the fly. We are going to talk long term, but how do we pay? How do we pay folks? How do we incentivize folks? How do we keep folks in our place? What used to be, I want to work for the city, and the things that drove them might just not be working as well anymore. So we are looking at all avenues there. We're working with OBM, the People's Cabinet, and others to kind of how do we change what we're doing if it's not working?
Yeah, thank you, Superintendent. You actually anticipated my final last question, which is what are we doing to ensure that these salaries are competitive with the private market? My understanding is that sometimes folks come in, there are some folks who even, we are I think we're doing some of the work of helping folks actually acquire that licensure, and then we're not able to retain them because we're not able to offer competitive salaries with the private market. And so, and part of me asking what can we do as a city council to, better support that is like if there's an ask for us to support more competitive salaries so that we can really compete with the private market, or, we're in a housing crisis, so living in the city of Boston is a challenge as well. And, I'm not saying that we go there in terms of the requirement, but the understanding that we do need to pay people competitively if we want our city to work, if we want public works to work, if we want our sidewalks or in our streets, if we want our streets cleared, and if we want to do this expansion work to our sidewalks, we have to have staff better in-house, and we have to be paying them competitive salaries, not only to affirm the dignity in their work, but to also ensure that we don't lose them as soon as they come into like a private industry that's able to pay double or something that's more competitive.
So to your point about how we try to, we hire somebody, we onboard them, we put them in our ladder. We may even, if folks want it and they raise their hand, we actually try to recruit as well. We put you in our CDL program, and we get you licenses, and we do our best to kind of, help you, help us, and help everybody. And then, when folks achieve these licenses, if we're not paying appropriately, it's, folks move on. It's about salary. If you pay enough, residency doesn't matter. And I think that there's a certain extent that folks, our men and women who live here and work here, there's a lot of good pride. It's just we have to do the right thing by paying them, what this market has changed to. So I think there probably will be an ask that comes through here at some point in time. It won't be classically from me, but we have to look at how we're paying the men and women who work awfully hard to keep this city moving 12 months a year, never mind, 4 months of critical public safety. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Superintendent Burrell, and thank you, Chair Bach, for indulging my questions.
No, thank you, Councillor Lujan. Councillor Murphy?
Thank you. Thank you for holding this important hearing, and thank you, Superintendent Brohl. Good to see you. I know a lot of things have already been said, but I do want to thank Council President Flynn for lifting up the disability question. I know we get that a lot. Where I live, I'm on the corner where there is a school bus stop in front of my house, an MBTA bus stop on the side of my house. I have a hydrant and a handicap ramp and 2 crosswalks. So in that one little corner there, see all of the needs we have about making sure that our crosswalks are clear for those waiting at the bus stop, for those, like we've mentioned, pushing baby strollers. But my question, because most of the others have already been addressed, is the relationship, or how are we doing with BPS? Because I know that we've had a lot of calls last winter going back and forth, knowing as a school teacher that it is in the BPS budget to clear their sidewalks fully around the school. I know sometimes it's just a safe path outside the front door, but also around the city, making sure that our kids are able to safely get on the buses. And then if you just want to talk to that, because I know we have talked about that before.
Sure. So the relationship with the Boston Public School Systems is one that's largely after action, after snowstorms. To your point, they've got contractors, they've got folks who are charged with doing their parking lots. They've got janitorial staff who do sidewalks. They've got other contractors who handle their other, like if they got a footpath through their property. But we kind of come in after the fact on a larger scale snowstorm. They'll send over high. What's the exact term? 100 students or more at a bus stop. They've got those highlighted, and they'll get that to us again on a large-scale snowstorm. Then, as we get into snow removal and we're trying to take the relief off of, a Seaver Street or a Humboldt in a district, we're also, we have that 100 child on our list as well. We post and do snow removal there. It's a, when you talk more about snow, when you talk more about what we do a lot. And I'm hearing that, and these men and women on our team who are doing this have that on their list, and our snow removal is largely school bus stops, and then that square that sees maybe house of worships that see a lot of folks congregate on a Sunday. We kind of know those spots as well. We kind of try to take that pressure off as well. Beyond any maybe piles that have occurred, because like I said earlier, when you push snow, and there's piles that are going to occur places I truly wish they weren't, but they have to go away. So it's kind of in that cadence, but that we get that the school department's very quick to send us that work.
And talking about the bus lanes, also the bus stops, school bus stops, also. Is there a priority list? I know you saying that most of your drivers know the neighborhoods. They know, like you mentioned, house of worship, it's going to be busy, or this is where the kids congregate to get on a bus. But is there a priority list, especially as we're adding more bus lanes? We've been having kind of proactive questions, trying not waiting to react once the snow starts this winter, because I know we've had put more bike lanes in the city. Yep.
So as far as the MBTA bus stops go, they're charged with handling their bus stops. We're charged with making sure the streets are wide enough for them to get to their bus stop, if that makes sense. Everything's a little bit of a dance. It's it's
together.
A push or a push-pull. But so as these floating bus lanes in the middle of the road, we get some on Columbus, some more coming on Tremont. So we're kind of working through. But we always know going into winter who owns what. Yep. It doesn't mean, in the middle of the night it can get, you're pushing snow back and forth, but that priority list comes from BPS for their bus stops. The MBTA is charged with their work at their high-scale bus stops.
Okay. No, thank you. And thank you for being here and holding this hearing, Chair. I have no other questions.
Great, thank you so much, Councillor Murphy. I just had a couple other things. One question, Superintendent. It was just whether there's been any progress, and I asked this question thinking that it's sort of the task of other people besides Public Works, but I think we've talked before about the fact that as we create sort of kind of nebulous third public spaces in the city, snow clearance of them becomes a challenge. And so obviously you've referenced the fact that as we increase the bike lane network, we need to be clearing those. But I know we've also encountered issues where, for instance, like we do a big bump out in order to make it safer to cross the street, but then the bump out is no longer in front of a specific private citizen's curb because there might be a secondary sidewalk that is in front of their curb. And so then suddenly it's like, who owns the bump out? Or we create an island to help pedestrians cross a wide intersection, and then it's like, who owns the island? And you end up with little goat paths and pedestrians stranded in a busy intersection. So, and I know that in practice, you've been incredibly accommodating. I think I have like 5 problem places in my district that you guys have just been great about just going to and dealing with. But I know that one of the things we talked about at some point is, should there just be like, I don't know if it's Monum or like somebody who kind of owns these things or like has a map of them and is thinking about them more systematically. And I wanted to raise this question again because I think that you're going to continue seeing the administration want to do complete streets and kind of these safety features and everything. So I'm just wondering how we're thinking about that.
So we've started those conversations with that green infrastructure areas, which is kind of that, just what you just described. Tremont Street's one that's in my head. We've got the ones that were built 100 years ago that we've talked about down near like the Westin Hotel and downtown near Champions, and that area of just islands where you send people to and say, well, who owns it? And so we're having those conversations. We're going to have we're going to roll out, I think through the streets cabinet, someone who will be a point person to kind of look at, who handles it. If it's city, great. If it's not, who's got the contracts. But we've started those conversations. I had a conversation briefly with Kate England about a month and a half ago to kind of talk through how this could look. So everything is happening fast because things get built. Sometimes people say things get built slow, and that's right. But sometimes they get built fast to operational people if you then got to maintain them. But we are talking through that future problem that I think has always people walked themselves into. And now we have this, what's going to happen to it? We've got stairs and footpaths in the city that go back to like the New Deal. Like Monastery Path in Brighton, the Alpha Road stairs, Haddon Footway behind St. Andrews. We have like the 88s in Eastie. Like we've got all these things that the Highway Division has always handled. We've now, this winter, we're going to kind of farm it out to contractors. We've got some in the sheltered marketplace for MBE work to kind of help grow that. We are kind of using the contractors to kind of help with our burden. And Clarence Perkins actually just recently been promoted to kind of oversee a lot of this good work, which has been awesome. And so we're looking at that the same way with these islands and these kind of like, what did we just build and how do we now maintain it forever? But those conversations are happening.
Great, that's awesome to hear. And do we feel in general, I mean, Councilor Murphy asked about the schools, but do we feel in general like our departments, I guess I just always wonder, like, it's anecdotal, but as a counselor, there's like, I think we all have kind of problem sidewalks we know of that we find out are kind of owned by a city department that isn't you guys often. And so I'm just curious whether there's a kind of like coordinating meeting about getting religion on that, or just kind of how we think about improving that situation.
I wouldn't speak for individual departments. I just speak to kind of what we do and how we do it. Because we do have code enforcement beneath our umbrella, we tend to hear from folks, and we kind of alert folks, based off of ticket volumes maybe, and just some information that we share back and forth. But I'd be over my skis and inappropriately in someone else's lane if I spoke about.
Sure, understandable. I think it's just like, I think that's one of those where the constituents, when we say to the constituents, oh, well, it's technically another department, from their perspective, it's like, it's the city. So it needs to be clear. And obviously the city, I don't think, do city departments have a practice of actually paying you guys for code enforcement?
We do transfers.
Violations, okay.
Yep, there are transfers.
Okay. Because, I think that, obviously we would rather see the behavior change than the budget transfers, as people who, do the budgets, we think, for reasons. And then just, I think the other thing to say is just, like, for me, as you know, like, I would love to live in a world in which we cleared the sidewalks of the city. Like, I I think that the mode of getting around the city walking is, it's a dominant mode in a lot of the area that I represent. And I think that like it should be as accessible as people getting in their cars, especially with so many city residents who don't own cars. And we talked about the fact when we did these, this is related to Councilor Louis Jen's point, when we sort of did working sessions looking at Rochester and Syracuse, Rochester obviously adds substantial additional resources to get that done. Like they charge a fee. They've taken on the work, but then they've also assessed a fee to all the property owners to basically pay for doing that in volume. And then on the Syracuse side, I agree. I think we got to keep following their pilot with interest. They came and talked to us, and then, as the superintendent said, they kind of then froze their project after a year. So it was a little bit hard to follow the development. There, it's kind of interesting because while they're doing a lot of the work on the city side, they also have kind of like one keystone institution, Syracuse University there, and they've kind of built this also as a partnership with the university. They thought about kind of pathways that were being like kind of standard pedestrian routes that people were walking, and in the places where the institution had those, they kind of got some help there. So I think it raised an interesting question for us of like, could we be asking our institutional partners to do some more of that type of work in addition to their own frontages, like, hey, help us with these connections. But there's both a lot of opportunity for that in Boston, and it's more complicated than having like one major keystone institution in the way that they do in at least the university kind of area of Syracuse. But I know that one of the things that came up in Syracuse was that when they initially went to go do it, they just literally didn't have contractors who had the equipment, and so they didn't have anybody like bid on it initially, and they had to kind of reconstitute the thing. And so what I just want to express and appreciate is that we had those conversations last year about kind of all these sort of more formal things, and it was sort of like, well, the city's not going to instantly jump to doing a new property tax assessment for sidewalk clearance, and we also, we aren't quite sure how to set up the same level of formal partnership that Syracuse is doing. But I just really appreciate that the superintendent kind of went back to the drawing board and said like, well, what could we do fast? And, what resources are available, and basically put out the call for like who has Bobcats that they could bring in. And so I just, I think, that I'm like always trying to nudge us in the direction of just clearing all the sidewalks, with the recognition that, you'd need to get at least back to that 400 again if we were going to do that. And instead we're having a tough time hiring right now. So, but I just really want to say how much I appreciate the initiative that's been taken here, and the real progress that I feel like my constituents saw last winter. And so the idea that we're going to add some more equipment there, and and that we'll all learn more about how to target it time-wise, location-wise, and then that we build towards this kind of the ARPA-funded thing next year with the Main Streets districts, and really, for all of us, I think it'd be great to be able to say, oh yeah, that district, like that's covered, and it's not just ramps, it's the sidewalks, and we kind of we can tell constituents what to expect on that front, because I do think like expectations is a significant piece of this, because people want to plan their lives, and it's really tough if you're mobility limited and you get out thinking you're going to be able to run an errand after a storm, and you just discover that you can't, or you feel like you're in danger of falling. So that's just a long way of saying thank you for all that you're doing, and we're going to keep partnering on this, and I'm really excited about it, and hopeful for all of our sake that it's a mild winter, but grateful for you making the time to talk to us about it. We obviously wanted to kind of do this check-in before the first snowflakes hit the ground, and we did succeed in that, so at least there. I want to just go to colleagues. I'll just check it with Councilor Louis Jen, and then go to my co-sponsor for for closing.
Again, just want to say thank you to the chair for holding this meeting, especially holding this hearing, especially before we get any snow on the ground, which, you know, Boston, we've had Halloween tricks of a snowstorm. And so just want to, again, reiterate how important it is, the work that you do, and want to thank you, because oftentimes the folks who keep this city running don't hear thank you enough. So thank you. We know it's incredibly challenging, especially when all you're hearing is the tweets and the messages of like, hey, you're not doing it enough, you're not doing it fast enough. It can be a moment that's really tense for the city when folks are trying to run those errands, when folks are trying to get to school, and there are these snowbanks that are really preventing them from getting there. And so I think we've heard the call to action, at least for myself as a city councilor, is continuing to encourage residents to call 311 to put in any issues on the streets or sidewalks, continue to cite absentee landlords who fail to properly clear the sidewalk. I think that's incredibly important, to hold them to task to all the ways in which they undermine the good work that we're trying to do here in the city, and also how we can support you as a city council when it comes time to budget hearing, to ensure that we are paying those who are making our city work a competitive salary so that they want to come here and stay here and work with us, especially our CDLs, those with licenses. So this is a call out to anyone who has a CDL license or wants to get one. The city of Boston wants you. And so I appreciate all the work that you're doing, and we will try to remember this hearing and the grace with which you presented the information when we start getting calls from our constituents during storms, and just know, I hope people know how hard we really are trying to work to solve these problems that, you know, right now it's not everyone's focus because there's no snow on the ground, but they become critical issues. So thank you, Superintendent, and I want to thank all the residents who help out and clear their neighbors' sidewalks, and who really help us make this a better city by looking out for our neighbors. And so thank you to our residents, thank you to my colleagues, and thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you, Councilor Lujan. Councilor Royal.
Thank you, Madam Chair, again, and thank you, Superintendent Bro. And also, just want to lift up the names of the superintendents in the yards, Clarence Perkins, Willie Simon, and also Norman Parks. You know, those guys, every time I call, they're there during the snowstorm, during trees falling, you know, every day. So thank you guys again. And also, any way that we could be supportive of a city council office, I'm here to be supportive of those guys and of your work that you continue to do to make sure that, you know, our city is safe, clean, and the snow gets to clear. I used to work in facilities management, and I can remember, you know, it's, you know, months before the snowstorm, checking on the equipment. It's, you know, before and after. It's long days, long hours, and I appreciate all the work that you guys do, because I've actually, you know, worked in that field. So thank you so much.
Superintendent, did you want to say anything?
No, just thank you for the time here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We don't have any public testimony signed up today, so we look forward to all partnering on this throughout the winter. And with that, this hearing is adjourned. Thank you all.